Greetings programs. I'm going to be doing another art video, or at least a video revolving around creativity. In today's video I'm going to be exploring the ideas of scratch art, like the old school scratch art, where you would make a picture with crayons and then you would cover it in black poster paint and then you would scratch away with it with a sharp object. The twist that I was going to add to this concept was that we're going to be using dip pens for the scratching process, which I thought, well, that could give us a lot of ideas. You could use the flexibility of an old English nib, so you could start inscribing Gothic style writing, or you could use a rastrum, which is usually used for drawing out musical staves for score notation in classical music. We could have very dull straight lines with like no expression by using a round type nib, such as this chunky one. We've got a thinner variant of the roundhouse. Round hand, not roundhouse. We're not talking about Chuck Norris. Or we could use the tape nibs to get some calligraphic effects. So yeah, I thought it was a cool idea. And don't mind the phone, obviously there's a bit of a fan club going about. Doesn't necessarily involve Norman Blake, but there you go. And I thought we could also use really fine objects, like a mapping nib. So yeah, that's what we're going to be exploring today. So yeah, I've got poster paint. We've just got a few generic brushes for that, such as overall coverage, and a couple of finer brushes to cover up possible mistakes if I end up scratching something that I kind of wished I never had scratched. So yeah, that's that. Of course, for the crayons we could be using these. You may have seen these before if you've watched any of my previous videos. And well, you could use any crayons. You could be using these chunky crayons that you could have nicked off a young like these sort of crayons that you could have nicked off a younger person. So I've got chunky crayons, I've got finer ones, some very, very chunky ones, or could use some pretty fine ones as well, like this one. It's pretty fine for a wax crayon. So yeah, okay, we could start. I'm just going to start stenciling around this fairy die. Hang on a minute. Alright, so yeah, we could use a fine pencil for this part. I don't know if I've got my stapler Mars. No, but we have got some we have a Mars Micro. That's an investment. But seriously, you could just use any pencil. Actually, I think we should actually do that, because I don't think I've got any leads loaded in this one. Hang on, I think I do. Yeah, I do. Okay. Like, come on. No, I think we're just going to have to use an ordinary wooden pencil for this. Isn't it fun? No, I've got one. Must have one. Oh lordy. Yeah, okay, we've got a really, really tiny stubby one. I think we can just about work with that. That'll do. I don't expect much of the details, but I'll try and get around to this point. Okay, it's stuck. Thank you. I didn't make a hole in the paper, so all's well with that. Right, so I'm just going to have to get ideas on what colours I'm going to colour this fairy in. I think I'm going to go for something weird, I should imagine. Usually go for something weird. We've got purple, blue, okay. To pull this back a bit. I'm not usually this popular. I wouldn't ask if I were you. So yeah, we'll be doing a bit more of that, won't we? Big wing there. Purple, green. Right, we've done blue there. Let's just go for a red one. I don't know, I'm not very decisive here, am I? Bit of a chunky purple perhaps. There's another blue. No, it's purple, I guess. I don't know why, but I'm just going to say I've got the urge to just colour in green. I'm going to have a green fairy. I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah, we're going to have a green fairy. The dot matrix. And of course we want to colour the star in something. I'm going to make it a pink star. And there you go. Big magic fairy. And club awaits me. Yeah, we've got some good paint here. So yeah, we're just gonna do its thing for a bit. Yes. That'll do for a bit. Now we can see that it's starting to dry, it's losing its glossiness. We've got a good streaking there. And we can see that the blue wax crayon is a bit more prominent there, so we can just about make out where the fairy is underneath the poster paint. Now I'm going to add another layer on that, as this is quite fast drying, this particular paint. So we're just going to dip that in there a bit. Yeah, I think that's quite good. It's covering very quite well. And well, of course, things will definitely become a bit more interesting, exciting even, once we start getting the variety of pens out. Right, I've currently got the Browse Old English currently installed, which I might just use for that. It's a really flexible nib. It's designed to have a very high ink capacity. It's designed for writing ye old English script. Of course, it's got very high flex, so your lines will become thicker the more you press down on it, and they'll become thinner as you keep a lighter touch on it. You can also draw directly on the tip. You can go up and down. You can do it in any. You can stroke the tip in any direction to get a good variety of effects. So yeah, that's quite cool. Like I say, it's very flexible. As I say, the restaurant could be quite an interesting one for some. We've got the Old-Skool nib. I think that one is designed to be reasonably stiff. And then we've got the Crown, otherwise known as the Hero, which has very high flexibility. It's very high flex to that. Perhaps not as much as the Old English, but it is pretty flexible, as opposed to the School nib, which is actually designed to be really stiff. And we've got 4 different tape nibs, as I was saying, but they just get wider, so we've got the thinnest to the thickest. We've got 3 round nibs, which are basically designed to be completely expressionless. Quite good for technical drawings where you'll want a line that is consistently the same thickness, regardless of your how you move your hand. And of course we have a poster nib, but of course there isn't much of a sharp edge to this one, so I'm not sure if we'll actually be using that one for scratch art. And of course we've got the mapping nib. And one thing to take into account with the mapping nib is that you can't just really use it with most standard holders. You have to use it with a very specific holder. Whereas all the other pen nibs I have will quite literally fit in the same holder. So yeah, if we're going to be using that one, we might as well pre-install it. This one could be very good for etching in the fine details. It's not quite finished drying yet. Although it's not too far behind. So yeah, I think this one's going to be quite interesting to try out. So I think we're going to install that one. We've got Ye Old English. As I say, pretty interesting. And I think I'm going to go for one of the tape nibs. I should try one of the middle sizes. And try the second thickest. And install that. reservoir feel to it as well, so you can hold more ink. Although in this case I'm not going to say that it's going to be much use in scratch art, so you could just simply remove the reservoirs if you so wish, as they are going to be kind of useless for scratch. And now that the paint is fully dry, we can start scratching away at it. You might actually just about see some of the wax crayon show through. You should be able to see the fairy's wing here. Jeez. Yeah, I can see that. Try tape nib. That's an interesting effect. You see we've got this kind of going across stripy effect, which is something that's obviously kind of exclusive to the tape nib. And I've got the Old English. I do admit the colour perhaps isn't quite as vibrant as I'd like it to be. That might be forgivable as I'm perhaps using not exactly artist grade crayons, although, yeah, just being wax I don't see a great deal of difference it being made. So I'll try doing some scratch up with these at some point. Well, I can't exactly zoom, but the crazy colours that I demonstrated last time, I'd definitely like to do some art using these with this method. It's like the great thing about this sort of scratch art is that you can feel your way around. You know, the rise suddenly becomes quite smooth when you're actually on the wax. Things start becoming a bit difficult when you go to an area where you haven't exactly marked with crayon, so that much of the black remains black. I guess this is all getting a little expressionist. I can see that some crayons seem a bit harder here because we're going into the pink and purple and it's not quite as easy going as it was on the blue side, which is the wing earlier. Through the page. Yeah, it's all starting to get a bit tough now. Perhaps the quality of the crayons you use can play a part in how easy the finished piece will be to scratch. Yeah, so it's meant to be blue crayon, like blue wax crayon. I know it's scratch art, it's not very scratchy. Scratchy at best. I thought you might also want to have a quick look and see what other dip pens I also have, like these Waverley style pens, like the Cameron and McNevran style tips. We've got that card. We've got the Jason Gillott style pen. Is it 403 Gillott? It's actually a D. Leonard & Co, but it's very Jason Gillott style, and I'm pretty sure I have got a Gillott to compare with it. So yeah, we've got some of those. That's kind of wrecked. Looks like somebody just sat on that. Flat as a pancake. It's a Estabrook. A nice little shiny casket here. Like marble metal. Psych! I've got Osmerod. Shadows there. So like Osmerod 95 type nib. You can see. Yeah, we've got more of these sort of light brigade Waverley, so I've got quite a lot of these Waverleys. I've got some, here we go, the stainless Waverley, Birmingham, is it McNiven and Cameron or something like that? Yeah, McNiven and Cameron, stainless Waverley, Birmingham. I've got some early ones that are not stainless and they're made in Edinburgh. I think those are 19th century. I think it was 1904 they moved their factory to Birmingham from Edinburgh, so we've got quite a few of these. Got this originoid type, which is quite interesting. Originoid, I think it's an Estabrook. It's an ES Perry, and it's got a 777 on it. I guess that might be a kind of lucky thing. 777. The focus is kind of off. This was kind of interesting. You probably won't be able to read it. Perry & Co. London. The 7041M. I like the shape of it though. It's like, kind of reminds me of the rear spoilers on a sports car. Kind of cool. What's that one that I dropped on the ground? There's another one a bit like that, but it's quite a bit longer. It's a 6. Number 6, I think it's Farjon or something like that. Saint Odile, Bagnall and Farjon. Bagnall and Farjon, I don't know if it's like Turkish or something. It's a little interesting. It's got a lot of reservoirs in that. Holds a lot of ink between dips. Keep dropping them, don't I? There's this one, which ain't even got a reservoir or any markings or anything. I think it's meant for engravings. Actually, it does have a bit of flex to it. It has actually got a split down the middle like a pen should have. There is actually a split going down there, but you won't be able to see it because it's so fine. So very fine. Yeah, so that's obviously going to be quite ideal for our scratch art. I'm just pop that over there. That. It's another Birmingham Waverley, but it's not stainless. It's just a standard Waverley. So I've got some of those from Birmingham, some of those from Edinburgh, but the steel ones I think were exclusive to the later Birmingham factory. Oh, I like these. These are my favourite. I love writing with these. My absolute favourite. It's called C. Brandhur & Co. International, Birmingham. I just love writing with these. Whenever I make greeting cards, I always like to write on them using this one. I just don't know what it is. It's got a good flex to it. Yeah, it's got a lot of flex to it. The reservoirs are quite decent. It's kind of like the old English nib from that modern pack I've got. With the rastrum and the index finger. Yeah, I've got 2 of these and they're like among some of my favourites to write with. Really cool. So yeah, that's all those ones from that casket. And then we've got this second casket. Heinz and Blankert's Berlin. Now these are old. These are really old. I wouldn't like to think if these were actually used to sign somebody's death warrant. They're old and scary. Right, so we've got this chunky thing. Number 20, it's got a big fat dip in the middle. Absolutely huge. So that's the first one. Got the second one here. Which is quite a lot smaller. Got a classic tape nib. I've got another one of a somewhat finer size. Number 6 written on that. These are all the Heinz and Blankert's nibs, which are largely what you would call tape nibs. And we've got an attachable reservoir for those. They will fit those. Heinz and Blankert's reservoir. 2.5. Again, another tape nib to the Heinz and Blankert's casket. Of course, these. This one is just says Bonn. It's F so N. I can't read much of that because it's absolutely covered in rust there. But I think it's another German. There's another German one. This one's kind of nice. It's got a little heart-shaped reservoir in it. It's lovely. It's very shiny. Is it MC? I seem to remember that the Waterman fountain pens had a heart-shape breathing hole in them. It's interesting to see that being used in a dip pen. MC Stainless, MC Limited, Beham, England. That's another Birmingham one. It seems that they made a lot of pens in Birmingham. I'm starting to wonder if I've actually got one that isn't made there. Not that I have a problem with that, but I'm just a bit surprised. I think that's another one of those Bonn ones. Again, we've got quite a long nib. Got lots of reservoirs, got 2 reservoirs. Kind of fancy looking. Now here we go, the Joseph Gillett. You see that it does look really quite similar to the other one we had earlier that I thought looked a bit like a Gillett. Well, actually it's a bit smaller, I think. It's a lot smaller. Okay, so we're just going to say it looks like a big fat Joseph Gillett 403. It's that style, that shape of pen. Kind of like how many Waverley style pens I've got that are made by so many different companies. And then we've just got all these. Again, I think that's probably another Gillett type thing. And finally we've got all these. We've got quite a few different makes. Some of them are tape nibs, others are rather more adjustables. We've got this one. Good & Co number 88. Yeah, it's got a sort of crescent moon shaped reservoir. Interesting. It's quite big compared to the others. So we have a Gooding code number 88, we've got an Estabrook relief, we've got an Italograph medium, we have an Eastern Wonder by E.S. Perry & Co. We've got another Italograph, but this one's a broad one as opposed to the medium one. We have a G.O.W. Hughes Adjusto. That's interesting. It's called an Adjusto, so I think it's like meant to be quite a reactive pen. No, it's quite stiff actually. I think it's like a school style nib, like a school practicing type thing. It's very stiff, it's got very little flex to that. We've got another Adjusto, again very stiff looking. And we have a Hinks and Wells. Let's have a look at that. The Latham 2114M Hinks and Wells and Co. England. That's interesting because if I remember correctly, Hinks and Wells, they did the Rob Roy pen company. I've got one of those. This one. No, that's a Browse. Here we go, it's a Rob Roy. And that's also made by Hinks and Wells and Co. So yeah, that's that. I've got a few interesting holders as well. Like this one. This one is a mechanical pencil. You put that and you can fill it with lead on that end, but then you can also use it as a pen on this end. Also on this side. And of course you can see what holders I've got. So again, we have that custom mapping type. This one I think is I think it's the British one. That's from the student set. Got this one which is a kind of triangular ergonomic type. I think it's a Speedball, something like that. Probably made by Speedball. It's ergonomic triangular grip. Got this one, kind of shiny. This one I know is German because I got it with the Heinz and Blancos casket. Now my camera's batteries are running out, so I'm just going to have to be really quick at this because that's just my luck. This one's ancient, I think it's a Joseph Gillett holder. And then we've got 3 from the Venus Pencil Co. You see, that's got a cork grip, and this is kind of broken. I think it's probably early plastic or rubber, and it's just rotted with age. Anyway, all 3 of these are made by Venus Pencil Company. Of course, in those days they used to gouge them out, so you'd use that one for your solvent. This one's for red ink. I found that overall these nibs are the best for etching with, these are like the best tape type nibs. this one. Don't have to really push hard on that one at all. It's just really good for drawing and all this. So easy. Yeah, this one's excellent. That's that original wood. Right, here we go. It's the original wood. Let's see what this one's like. Wobbles a bit in the holder. Just gonna swap the holder on that. It's not bad. But I wouldn't say it's as good as this, which has no branding on it whatsoever. As I say, these types, basically they've got no reservoir in them, which reduces the amount of flex in them, which means that you get a nice bold line with your engravings. So yeah, these are really good. That was quite good. The original, not brilliant. I wouldn't say the lines are quite as sharp and clean as this stubby looking thing. So yes, I'm going to just give this Osmoroid one a go. Osmoroid Telegraph. We do get some thick tape-like effects with it. You get some thick tape-like effects, but there's obviously just too much flex for my liking. Yeah, I'm going to stick to these. If I want tape-like effect, then I'll also go for these. Got Hinks and Wells & Co, Leighton, Eastern Wonder by Perry & Co, and Relief by R. Estabrook & Co. Thank you for watching.